we have to develop the skills individually, and also want to see that we expand our professional network. The way we meet here, it gives a chance to know each other. And once an element comes in, as regards to that field, you remember that there is a member we had a meeting with at Accord, and we made it. So this person is the most appropriate for this task. That is what we mean by network, professional networks, finding inspiration to advance the careers and also to contribute effectively to the field of development. So this seminar intends to gain the government officials, communities, businesses, NGOs, development practitioners, individuals who are focusing on development, purposely development. So also we're looking, when you look at also the NGOs, their main objective is to achieve development and see that it is done within a shortest period of time. And also we find donors and future generations, or in other words, people who are going to be responsible in the future time. Then also, so how do we understand? What are the key concepts? What are the key concepts under development or under the development strategies and capacity building? One, we're going to look at a development strategy. Development strategy. And also another one is capacity building. These two work hand in hand. But the question is, what is a development strategy? Somalia as a country, it has got its issues, it has got its targets, it has to achieve in a specific period of time. Over the past 30 years, very many things have been destroyed. Now the economy is standing on its own, such that it can operate smoothly. Then the question is, what strategies have been established by the government, by the people like you, by the community, by the society, NGOs? In other words, a strategy, it is a method or a technique that is being applied or developed by a community or a government in order to achieve the economic growth, in order to achieve the development that you want. So that strategy, how can you achieve it? Only if you're having a well-organized group with the skills. And how do we raise the skills? Is through capacity building. You start with a strategy. Which strategy are you focusing on in order to achieve the development? What goal are you setting that in the next 20 years, we want to see Somalia, which is having good roads, good schools, good hospitals, good markets, everything. So you lay a strategy. How are you going to achieve that? Are you getting me? How are you going to get that? If it comes to schools or hospitals, then your strategy is going to be, I want hospitals where there is medicine, doctors, good machine, good technology. Yes, good nurses. But then again, the question is, do you have those good nurses? That is the question now you start asking. Do you have the good nurses? Do you have the technology that you need? Do you have the hospitals? Do you have the environment that allows that? So you go now for capacity. You need now to set a strategy, how you can get those nurses. So you may set a goal that in the next 20 years, yes, if we are to achieve this, we need to start by recruiting nurses, take them to universities, Let them study for free. Yes, you as the government, you as the community, it may be a community hospital. You want to see that in your community you have a hospital. What does it mean? You will have about 2 individuals or 3 you are going to be paying for at university because you want them to come back to the community and serve. So in the next 5 or 6 years, they're going to be graduates. Still are in your strategy. After the 4 years, they get back to the community. Remember, you said that you want this to be done within your area. So as a result of that, you started by training them at university. You gave them the skills. These are the people now you need. Who built them? It is you, the community, you, the government, you, the individual. So what happens? You go on to find that those individuals are going to be within the strategy that you laid, you want to achieve within a shortest period of time. So other key terms, we are going to look at the capacity. Are these individuals able to achieve what we want? Yes. Where do they need some help? You have to show them and guide. Then sustainability. Sustainability is the most problem we always have in most of the developing countries. To have that program last for a longer period of time. Yes. How are you controlling it to survive after 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years? So as you establish any strategy or any development strategy, the main goal, main objective should be to see that it is sustainable within a given period of time, or it is going to last for a long period of time. Then resilience, that is now the energy, the spirit you are having, even if you get some setbacks, some challenges, as you carry out a specific development goal. How do you get up again? How do you raise up again? So that ability for you to stand up again and continue doing with the same is what we need. Then also empowerment, either the youth, the women, the younger men, and the children, in order to be involved in the working. Collaboration. These are some of the key terms we need under sustainable, that is sustainable development, and also under the development strategies. Collaboration. You cannot do it alone. You cannot do it alone. You need people, you need advisors, you need influencers in order to see that you achieve a certain goal. So how do you do that? This one is going to bring in what we call public-private partnership.
In progress.
Public-private partnership, what does it mean? You need the government also needs the private. So you find that the private sector has to work hand in hand with the government in order to achieve the goal. But if you resort like private sector alone, the government may fight it. Yes, it is simple. Charge a tax on that private sector, it will fail. But it requires a collaboration, the private sector, government, they work together, they achieve a certain development goal. Like I've been analyzing some of the private sector companies here. And I've seen that majority of them, they're working effectively. Take a case of Hormuz, and also, yes, take a case of Hormuz. When I was analyzing, it employs a reasonable number of people, a good number of people, over 3,000. In Hormuz, only one.
Progress.
Okay, let us leave the element of clan, but let us look at the 3,000. Let us say we're having also another company which can take about 3,000 also. Let us say about 5 of them taking 3,000. That is over 1,500. Too much. So in developing countries, if development is to be achieved within the shortest period of time, it starts with empowering the private sector, work hand in hand with it, guide it, because at a certain point, governments or our economies are in a position that they cannot fund every sector. But what does it do? It identifies that this sector requires to be developed. Who can develop it? It resorts it calls the private sector to invest in it. So sometimes, since it is not having enough resources, what it does, it identifies, the government identifies important sectors to be developed and calls the private sector to invest in them. So it requires collaboration. It may not be on private public partnership. It may be also with international organizations. It can also be with other donor agents. We're having the training and development. This is now in terms of equipping you skills, basing on, like we said, an example of nurses. These nurses, they needed to be trained. You take them for training and development, not only nurses, in all your different professions. You're having different degrees, different professions. The question is, do you have all the skills that you need in that profession? Sometimes we need to go back and those skills, because the world is changing day after day, day after day, day after day. So as it changes day after day, it means the skills that were important in the past, in the modern time, they are not going to be using or useful. So what does it mean? It will require you to go back and keep on updating your skills. That is through training and development. Monitoring and evaluation, these are now in projects. Every strategy you take, every project you take, every program you carry out, let it be an education program, agriculture, every project, you need to carry out the monitoring and evaluation. Once you monitor every step, it means that at a certain point, if you find that there is a problem, it is easy to adjust and you get back to the goal or to the line you want to take. But the question is, you started a project, you left it there. You went somewhere. You're very busy eating your money. The project is there. Are you monitoring it? If it is having any problem, have you identified it? No. So we need monitoring in order to see how the changes take place within the project, and also we do adjustments. Then diversity and the inclusion, we need to be open-minded to different ideas, not only, sorry. Yes, go on, please. Yes, yes. Yes. The capacity. Mm. 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 So that is what I'm saying. It requires partnership. And as you carry out partnership, then you have to influence the monitoring, both the government and the private sector. But in most cases, the sector that is most effective in projects is the private, because every time it takes on a project, it wants to perform it to the best, such that it is also given a chance next time. Compared to the government projects, where individuals, once they receive resources, money, they put some and others on their projects, which is happening in most of developing countries. And we ask ourselves, are the donations benefiting the country or the recipient countries or not? Sometimes we find that the funds are resorted to other channels. We're having diversity being open to diversity that is having recognition and valuing the differences among the people, and also including differences in terms of race, gender, age, culture, and other characteristics. Then also we're having the mentoring and coaching. Mentoring and coaching. These two are different. Mentoring is a longer process. It takes a longer period of time. If you want to nurture a good leader, you want to come up with a good leader. Let us say you are the father. You want your son to be the manager of the business when you are not there. So you nurture that person. Child, that is grooming from childhood, showing him what to do and when to do it. But when it comes to coaching, now this one is a training. They coach you on this. It is specific, it is short term. I want you to learn this, they coach you, they train you. That is coaching. But mentoring is a long process. Our mentors take, or in other words, we look at them in different directions. Then digital transformation, that is the technology. Yes, sir. Yes. Yes. Yes, in most cases, the public-private partnership, in most cases, what happens, the government identifies the leading sector which requires to be developed. So after identifying, because it has some limitations in terms of capacity, resources, it allocates it for the private sectors. That this project is the one we intend to achieve, but you can come in and fund it. Because the government doesn't have that with those resources, then it allocates it. So it is a combination, but the government starts by identifying. Yes, yes. So development strategy and building capacities. We're saying development strategies and building capacity are essential elements for organizations to achieve a sustainable growth and success. These strategies involve identifying areas that need improvement, implementing measures to enhance skills, knowledge, and resources to achieve desired outcomes. How are you implementing those skills in order to get the desired outcomes? So you need to have the common development strategies and building capability include training and development, like what we are having here, and also the development now, it comes to identifying the areas of specialization. What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve in a specific period of time? Mentoring and coaching, succession planning. Succession planning, this one is now in terms of grooming the future generation, grooming the future leaders, people who are going to replace others when some are out of the system. So how do you set it? Like there is one of the succession planning here, I see in terms of leadership, whereby every 4 years, the president goes. Another one comes. Then what about in terms of project management, in terms of business management? If it is a family business, if it is a project, sometimes people take positions, they're too old, they don't want to even do. They cannot add anything they don't want to. Instead of that old person, with all the skills he has, to guide some 2 or 3 individuals, show them what they're meant to do, because sometimes as we go, we have to accept that at a certain time, I'm not able to do that. But what do? Guide others, guide the younger generation to do it in the right way, such that the resilience and the sustainability is achieved. Because if you don't train these people, what will happen after 10 years when you are away? The project is done. So you need to train others such that they succeed you.
Okay.
At a certain time when you're retiring, when others are retiring, they succeed you. Such that the project continues surviving, not only dying or stopping when you stop working. Then also performance management, innovation and creativity. Innovation and creativity is very important. In most cases, in the modern times, we don't need to follow what has been happening in the past. We need to keep on changing. We need to keep on adjusting. Like we are seeing, technology is taking over everything globally. Technology is colonizing everything. Then the question is, if for your case you use it to write letters and you send them either by bus, right now we're using emails within the shortest period of time. So the question is, are we embracing the technology? Are we using it effectively to be in line with what we want? Or technology is driving us? There are two different things. Either you drive the technology or the technology to drive you. When it drives you, it means that it is going to control you and you will waste time on it. Instead of you using it effectively and you do what you intend to do. That one, you are going to be more productive and efficient in all the activities that you do. So forms of development strategies, we said mentoring, networking, partnership. Development strategies can take various forms depending on the organization's goals, needs, and resources. Some common forms of development strategies include training and development, mentorship and coaching. Yes, I said mentorship is long-term and coaching is short-term. Technical assistance. With the new technology, there are things which we don't know. We should adopt. We should be flexible. New technology comes in, how can I fit in? That's what I always challenge with the graduates, like students who just graduate from universities. They go on the street and they say they want the jobs. You want a job? Yes. But the question is, do you have the skills that are needed? Are you getting me? Someone wants a job. Yes, you want a job, it is okay. But the question is, do you fit for the job you're looking for? You find that some individuals, yes, we have the degrees, but the skills required for that particular job, you don't have it. So should I employ you without the skills? Or I look for the person with the skills?
Recording in progress.
So that is the element we need to embrace always, that technically, you need to equip yourself with the different skills such that you're fit for the field where you are. Make sure that you fit within that environment. Keep adjusting, keep adding on, and achieve the intended objective. Then innovations, creativity, diversity and inclusion programs. Inclusion programs, in most cases, we aim at seeing that include the people you're having, include the youth. When you're taking decision making, when you're carrying out any decision, involve the community, involve the society. What is making it difficult for implementation of some projects and the community refusing to accept some projects is because they're not involved in their implementation. So sometimes we find that a community will not accept a certain project because you as an individual, you decided on their behalf a project. But what happened? You did not identify their needs. Are you getting me? You did not identify their needs. For any project, in a strategy, first identify what are the needs of the society. Involve the community in identifying those needs. Because the best people to tell you those needs are the community, are the people who live in that area where the project is going to be implemented. So it is going to start by analyzing what they need. Then you go on to implement a project which is going to be welcomed by everyone. Because in most cases, whenever you feel like you're valued, you are asked about what to do, it means you're part of that. You will not fight it, whatsoever case it may be. You are part of it. It is in your community. It is solving a problem which has been challenging the entire community. What is going to happen? You're going to welcome it with all the heart. Why? Because it is solving the problem. So we need what we are terming as the inclusion system. Bring together the community into the system, innovation and creativity program, technology and digital transformational programs. Everywhere you're going to see technology is coming in. Everywhere technology is coming in. Instead of fighting it, we have to adopt it, embrace it. Sometime back, I was in Uganda. Like for us, secretaries used it to type using the typewriters. I don't know whether you saw those machines. For their case, they're not computers, but their typewriters, they were like keyboards, but you press as it prints outside, there and then. That one. So what happened? As technology advanced, some of the secretaries refused to adopt that. What does it mean? Will they continue having that job? No. Someone who is willing to change to another technology and embrace it. So flexibility is important. As technology comes in, we need to be flexible. Learn, adopt, learn how it works, enjoy it. Then you are going to be more effective in everything that you're doing. Another one is what are the development strategies and building capabilities for Somalia? If you look at Somalia as a country, what are the areas that should be focused on? There are very many, almost every sector, but a few of them: strengthening the governance, good leadership means you're going to have good people in the right offices, and then when it comes to decision making, it is going to be easier for planning and implementation, improving education and skills. Education and skills. One day Nelson Mandela said that if you want to kill the nation, kill its education system. Once you kill the entire education system, you have lost all the productive manpower. You have lost all the doctors. You have lost all the pilots. You have lost all the engineers. You have lost everything. Each profession is being killed. Then the question is, after killing education, what are you left with? Are you getting me? So we need to develop the education sector, investing in infrastructure, roads. We're having agriculture, or we're having farmers. They carry out agriculture. They're good at camel farming. And camel farming is one of the economic activity for Somali community. Then how do you make it productive? If they are deep in the village, can they transport the products of camel meat and milk to the market? Do you have the infrastructure in terms of the roads and the markets? We have to develop the infrastructure, building health care capacity. A healthy worker is a productive. Yes, but now, as they were destroyed, now it is the time of, that is what we are, now we are calling it now the resilience. How are you willing to stand again and be the #1 nation that was 30 years back? Yes, there are things we need to accept that it happened. We are not going to say, this one is happening. No, you have to stand up again. Yes, that is the rebuilding. Enhancing agricultural productivity, women and youth empowerment, putting the youth and the women on board in terms of development, fostering innovation and technology. Everywhere we are going to find technology. Everywhere is, even if you hide inside your house, you will need technology. Even if you run away, technology will look for you. Yes. Yes. And instead of fighting it, we needed to welcome it and adopt it. Yes. Strengthening public-private partnership, creating a good relationship between the private sector and the public sector in order for them to work concurrently and effectively. Capacity building. This involves creating an environment that supports development of skills, knowledge, resources to achieve organizations' goals. You need to develop the skills, first of all, but you create that environment. You're not going to achieve a desired objective without creating that environment. You're not going to establish good infrastructure, good buildings, when the next day they're going to be kaboom. Are you getting me? Creating and destroying, you're not involved. Create that environment first. Construct buildings, they survive. The roads, they continue performing the desired duties. Create a culture of continuous learning and development where individuals are willing to take on the new challenges and new knowledge. Fostering innovation and creativity. Build a strong relationship with the stakeholders. Those are in terms of donors, private individuals who are willing to support, and also fostering collaboration in capacity building. What are the types of capacity building? What are the types of capacity building? We're having the various types of capacity building, and one we are saying individual capacity building. You as a person, you as an individual, you in your profession, equipping yourself with the skills that are needed. Have you tried to check the new changes within your profession? Have you tried to look for that knowledge? Have you tried to attend some trainings? Some new courses within that field where you are? Because as you keep on training, you get more skills. As you get new courses related to your profession, it creates a diversity in knowledge that you're having. Instead of doing the same thing, you become more creative. Why? You're gaining new skills in different areas. Then organization, this is a particular organization where they create an environment that is allowing the workers inside there to be effective at their jobs. Like some of the organizations, what do they do to improve or to enhance the capacity, to carry out capacity building in their organizations? They carry out one-day training, they carry out seminars, they take or they bring mentors within the organization to equip. Then also they do what we call upgrading within the training, such that you learn new things that are adoptable. A particular institution can also look at aiming at achieving its capacity, then also community or the society. The society. In most cases where we live, sometimes we find that we need to adjust, come up with new things. What things do we need in a community? We don't have water. Yes. How are we going to get that water? Are we going to wait for the government to bring the water? Or even the community can do it? Sometimes, okay, in most cases, due to the case that the government sometimes is slow to respond because of the element of bureaucracy. You have to take on steps, one office after. By the time they implement what you need, maybe people have died. So there is what we always need, which is bottom-up approach. Bottom to top approach. At the top, here we are having the government. And at the bottom, we're having the people or the community. The government will not identify which is more urgent. Are you getting me? The government, those officials, they will not identify what is urgently needed by the community. But the community stays there. The people stay there. They will identify it. So what does it mean? In most cases, we need to be more creative as a community. We don't wait for the government to come and solve our problem. No. Community individuals, community members come together, combine ideas, they create an environment of solving the problem before the government comes in. The government comes in to support. When you look at the countries, we're having the Nepal and also Philippines. Those people, those countries are having the largest number of poor people who are very poor, people who are very poor. But what do? They sit as a community, identify their challenges, call for support from organizations like the Red Cross NGOs and all other NGOs. But once they resort to the government, it takes long and their problems are not going to be. And the community is how it is surviving. The bottom-top approach instead of top-bottom approach. This top-bottom approach is time-consuming. It takes long. We cannot achieve it. If we want to achieve development, yes, we need the top, but it requires us to identify our challenges. Then this top comes in. And if we are to achieve development, the bottom-up approach is most effective. National capacity building, that is what we need to achieve as a country and nationwide. Then global, international, like technology is advancing. How can we use it internationally? How can we use it nationally? Are you getting me? Internationally, we can use it to carry out business. We can use it to carry out trade effectively. Nowadays, we don't need to go to China and so on. Advancement in technology. You as an individual, you as a farmer, are you getting me? You as a doctor, you as a business person, how are you adopting technology in the way you're doing things? Are you getting me? You need to find a way, either in your community, either national, in a full country, nationwide, international, how you use that technology in order to provide a service or to get what you need. If you're a doctor, how can you position yourself in order to provide a service to the patients and also you benefit from it? Are you getting me? Can you generate applications? Can you use the different platforms in order to create that? Then also, it is not only in a particular region. Technology is global. So it can go beyond and it can be used by others in achieving the same. Note, each type of capacity building requires different strategies and approaches to achieve its goals. For example, individual capacity building may involve training and mentoring programs, while organization capacity building may involve strategic planning and performance management systems. So in other words, in organizations, we want to see, are we performing to the best? Are we achieving what we intend to achieve? So these organizations have strategies, have goals to be achieved within a specific period of time. So what is our capacity building framework? Our capacity building framework. Capacity building framework is a systematic approach to developing and strengthening the skills, knowledge, responsibility of individuals, organizations, and communities. A capacity building framework typically includes the following elements. One is assessment. We need assessment. Capacity building framework. What do we need assessment first? In assessment, it helps us to identify what we need. It helps us to find where the problem is. So after identifying where the problem is, what do? You plan how to solve it. You start by identifying where is the problem. Are you getting me? After getting the problem, you have identified it. Then what are you going to do for the problem? You plan on how to solve that problem. Then as you plan, what does it mean? You identify what objectives you want to achieve. What resources do you need? Which groups of people do you need to involve? That is also in terms of resources. How are you going to implement it? Then comes to, after the planning and identifying all the resources that you need, you do the implement. Yes? Sorry. Yes, that is the activation or implementation. So you identifying the problem. Why is the problem that, yes, the community is experiencing much malaria. But where is the problem? Maybe we are having a lot of stagnant water. Maybe we are having few hospitals, no medicine. Then the question is, what are you planning to? Are you getting me? And how are you intending to solve that issue? So you either going to call upon the community in order to destroy all the water sources which are having stagnant water, or you call upon also the community to go for treatment in the hospitals so that you can treat that malaria. So Different strategies can be laid. Do we have the medicine in the hospitals? Do we have the place that is efficient for treating this or managing the disease, and so on? So you plan, then you implement. It does not stop at implementing. You have not yet achieved the goal. The goal is to overcome that problem, to take away that problem. How do you see that either you are in line with it or not? That is monitoring and evaluation. You have to monitor each step of that activity you're carrying out. Every step that you take, you have to identify, is it done in the right way? When you look at these two, monitoring and evaluation, this one is done continuously. Evaluation can be taken at a certain point, but monitoring itself is done continuously. The main reason is, as we are implementing some projects, sometimes we are on a try and fail method, try and error method. Sometimes we're not sure, but what makes us to be most effective? When I use this, it is more effective. When I use this is not effective. When I use this, so what happens? It gives us a platform of seeing that if there is any challenge, you can solve it within the system and you continue still with your goal. But if you don't monitor, if we don't evaluate, it becomes a problem to achieve that objective. Then another one is sustainability. Fighting to see that problem does not happen. You solve it once and for all, and it lasts forever without changing. Yes, and the future. Not only today, everything you do, not only today, but also the future. That is the sustainability. If we are solving an issue that us it is a disease, next 3 years, 4 years, 20 years, what will happen? Are you getting me? That is sustainability. Collaboration. Who do you need to work with? The government, particularly the Ministry of Health. If it is in terms of health, you go for the Ministry of Health, particularly. So you need to bring them together. Then communication. Communication. Communication may not be only for the community, but also the stakeholders. You as an individual who is implementing the program, who is implementing the project, what are you telling the community? How have you used those strategies? How have you used the resources? Then all the findings you get in the project, in any strategy you have implemented, you have to communicate to the individuals responsible. It may be the organization, it may be the community, it may be stakeholders like donors, and so on. So we are saying that a capacity building framework is a flexible and adaptable tool that can be customized to meet the needs of different organizations and community. In other words, you can adjust in order, you can use these steps in order to achieve, to be fitting within the strategy you're taking. Not always that you have to take this step, no. You adjust it to make it fit within what you intend to achieve. So here is a simple capacity building framework that's showing you a national goal, a strategy, then organizational strategy and objectives. So we find that the national goal is at the top and then the organizational are below the government. So performance targets and standards are always set at national level, but they must be put in place by different organizations. The gap analysis, inputs, then process. Then we're having also the internal and external environment that influence our projects as we do the implementation. as we do the implementation. Sorry. Okay, that as yes, we are having the internal and external environment. Like in every project that we do in our capacity building, the things you need that may come internally, the some that rise outside of the environment. Yes, please. Yes. 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 Unforeseen circumstances. Yes. In most cases, that's what in most cases makes some projects fail. Certain amount is being set. Certain resources are set for a particular project. But what happens? Let us say floods, desert or drought, or anything that is natural in nature comes, destroys what you had planned, and it requires you to spend more outside of what you had planned. So that's it influences also our capacity building framework and also the project strategies that we have laid and put in place for survival and implementation to achieve the desired development goals. So the development capacity building process, capacity building process building process. In order for us to achieve that capacity, those skills that are supposed to be that we need in order to achieve a development strategy, there are steps we follow, there are mechanisms, or there is a process we take in order to see that we achieve those skills. So one, we are saying the capacity building process involves a systematic and structured approach to developing and strengthening the skills, knowledge, and resources of individuals, organizations, and communities. The following are the key steps involved in the capacity building process. They're the key steps involved in the capacity building process. One, needs assessment. Needs assessment. Needs assessment, in most cases, these are the challenges we tend to have in our communities. These are the problems we always have in our communities. But do you want those problems to continue existing? You need to overcome them. You need to put a solution in order to put them to an end. So what happens? You identify the different problems or the needs that need to be achieved. As a result of that, then you set the goal. Goal setting. Goal setting. In goal setting is aiming at achieving a better standard, a better outcome. Problems were there. You analyzed, let us say, the community is not having water, or in other words, some communities are experiencing water shortages. Then the question is, what is your main goal now? The community is crying, there is no water for people and also for the animals. Yes. Does it mean you are going to continue crying all the time? The need now is water for both people and animals. So what is your goal? Is to get a way how to get that water for both the animals and the people or the community. So that is your goal. But now the question is, how are you going to say, what do you need to achieve? Are you going to be buying water from the sea to, is it sustainable? Can you manage transporting water from the sea up to the community each day and every day? You need to have a sustainable and an effective plan. In the planning, then now it is where you are going to establish a way, a method. Which of these methods is more easy and cost effective? Remember, the resources are not available. Are you getting me? So one may resort to digging boreholes or digging wells, or use solar panels to pump water from the ocean to the area, or you have, like we are having underground water wells, digging wells. So you find that it may be effective in a community to come up with a well. Then how many wells are you going to dig? Is one well enough? Or you need at least even after 10 houses, there should be a well to reduce the distance. Oh, so how many wells do you need? Then you come up with a good plan. How many should they be? Then, if you decide that 5, after every 5 houses, or even after 10 houses, let us have a well. Then you say we are going to have about 20 wells or 5 wells in the area. So the next part is, do we have the resources? Do we have the people who are going to dig these wells? How long do we need this one to be done? Where should it be done? Then the next part, after all these are being put in place, you implement. Implement. Activating that plan. Then now, it is where you dig the holes, the wells. You see that the wells are maintained, which is going to be done under the monitoring and evaluation. Monitoring and evaluation. Then you see that these wells are not for only during the wet seasons. Are they going to survive even the dry seasons? So for how long? In other words, if not now, are they going to survive even in the future? So it is why now you bring in the modernity that a well should contain water and should survive for so long. Then you go on, that is sustainability. Sustainability. So, yes. Yes. No, like me, I used one. I used one, like, let us say, but it is not the final decision because we had different ideas, like digging wells and tapped water, pumping water from the ocean. Yes, also having water catchment areas. So just for my case, and as an example, I've been using digging the wells. So it is one of them. So in then, the next part is what we are terming as the continuous improvement. Then you're going to bring in that. The wells may not be enough. We need to have the water catchment areas that to supplement on the wells. That sometimes the wells are what? Can go dry. But these water catchment areas can keep water even in dry season. So you're improving from one point to another. You keep on changing another time. Changing to see that you fit within the means that you have. Then we are saying, following this process, individuals and organizations, communities can develop and strengthen their skills, knowledge, and resources and achieve their goals and objectives more effectively and efficiently. Communities, organizations, and individuals, we can be more effective, we can be more efficient with a proper plan. We identify the need, we plan effectively. After planning, we implement, activate the plan. After activating the plan, it does not stop there. Monitor each day, every step, every ground, every point. Then check for, yes, please. Yes. Yes. Yes, okay. I broke it down in terms of a project. But yes, in the actual sense, it is in line with an individual where the needs, where the community needs capacity building, or an individual where he or she needs the capacity development. Yes, so we go on and it is the same procedure, the same process, even though I had brought it in the line of a project. So in most cases, we as individuals, what happens? We identify where am I having a weakness in my profession? That is a needs assessment. Are you getting me? Then how do you intend to achieve that need? How do you intend to solve that weakness? If it is a community, how are we going to solve the challenge that we are experiencing? We need to come up with a group that can support that. Yes? Then from there, you implement. How do you implement if it is individual element of capacity building? Then you go on for trainings, you carry out some research, you go for mentorship, you go for coaching. Then the question is, after you gaining those skills, do you stop there? You try to check whether it is effective or not. That is monitoring. You evaluate yourself. Am I fitting in the field or not? Am I in opposite direction or am I in the straight direction? Then from there, you check where are the things I need to change. There are things you need to adjust, and there are things which, then the question is, the knowledge you have gained, is it going to survive to work for today and tomorrow, or it requires to be advanced each day? Yes. The first element, I had looked at it, an element of a project, a community project, whereby they needed the capacity themselves, not the government, but the community itself. How can they raise the capacity they need? Solve the problem that they do have. Okay. So the capacity building plan, we are seeing you have to have goals and objective, target audience, the needs assessment, the timeline. This one, I want us to have some, we repeated it. Some with timeline. This is, yes, I repeated it. Advantages of capacity building: increase the efficiency and effectiveness. You become more effective as an individual because you have the skills that are needed. You can do exactly what you are expected to do by your employer, by your worker. If it is an organization, what they're meant to do. If it is an institution, it is working effective to provision of service as it is intended. IT improved the quality and services, enhanced the collaboration and partnership, increased innovation, sustainable development, and improved the decision-making. Overall capacity building can lead to improved performance, greater resilience, and increased effectiveness, helping individuals and organizations and communities to achieve their goals and realize their full potentials. We're having limited limitations. Limitations are in line with the limited resources, coordination. We don't have resources. That limits the existence of our activities in capacity building, and also lack of coordination and collaboration. Lack of collaboration, then resistance to change. Some people refuse to change. Some people refuse to change. Technology is advancing, you want to remain to the typewriter instead of going with a new technology. Then short-term focus, when you're not focusing on the longer term, because we are saying that we look at sustainability. So when you set any capacity building activity that is short-term, is not effective. Lack of evaluation and monitoring is also a limitation. While capacity building can be a powerful tool for promoting development and change, it is important to recognize its limitation and ensure it is implemented in a thoughtful and a strategic manner to maximize the potential impact. So we have to be more effective and keen on every step that we do in order to maximize their capabilities. Mr. Awes, do you have my questions, please? There are questions. There are questions. I do the question. There are questions. I want us to have a group of 3. How many are we? I want us to have a group of 3. Let's have a group of 3, because the number is not enough. Let us make groups of 3 individuals. So others are on Zoom. Yes, I'm seeing there is a number on Zoom. Yes, here I want us to have groups. There are questions I want us to discuss and generate solutions, you as individuals. Are you getting me? And generate solutions based on the capacity building. What capacity building do you need for that problem, and what should be done in order to be solved? Those questions shortly. Can you check on them? So I can show you through. The students were not so. I want you to put it here. We have 10 minutes. We are starting with yellow. Okay, who's presenting? Yes.
They consist of 4 lessons. You have one email, and just to go and to do the presentation, we are about to do the presentation. And our question is the community, attending to the hospital and the school, and here it's mentioned that the resources we have is insufficient. So as a community member, what is our plan to achieve this specific goal, or to achieve or to build a school or hospital for the community? And we have just pointed out or written down 4 points, which is number 1 is we have to make community awareness. First, community awareness, because when you are making a project for the community, and the community doesn't have any idea what project it is, so we do community awareness to tell the people the advantage of having hospital and the advantage of having school for the community. So for that reason, they may have their own contribution to the hospital or the school. And we also have mentioned it just to have a community meeting, and that meeting should be invited by community elders and business group and the education, all different type of people in the community to come for a meeting and to discuss the advantage or to discuss how to develop such a project until the end product. And in case since the resources we have are insufficient, we do prioritize the project. Like first we do the hospital, then we do the educational center, and after that we follow all the capacity building process after we get, because what we are doing for that is to get the resources to be sufficient. After that, we do a capacity building for the community and follow what our instructor has just mentioned up, like assessment, goal setting, planning, implementation, M&E sections, sustainability, and continuous improvement. That's all what we have done for the questions regarding for community development projects and in terms of the school and or hospital. Maybe if you have any contribution or any other ideas, you can just add to our presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, in our capacity building, we are looking at coming up with the hospital and the school. Coming up with the hospital and the school. Since the resources are not enough, they are prioritizing. So the capacity they have to establish is to see that they're having enough manpower, but they can still get the services they need using the little resources that they have. Okay, that is a good analysis. Let's have another presentation. Thank you for presenting.
First of all, I would like to greet you with the best greeting, that is Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. After that, We are Group A. We are 5 persons. I would like to thank my best teacher, Mr. Lubega Anthony. Thank you. You are getting us a lot of idea. Our question is, as we know, our community has a large numbers of beggars along in the streets, including women, men, and young people. So this labor force space for development, we need to justify the statement by making it true and how. So according to our group, we try to discuss and understand how to solve this problem. We try to get a lot of idea. Then we know that the case came from lack of employment and missing the children education. And this can cause many problems to become the people poverty. And then cause to see the streets and try to ask the people for help. So we get 2 main points to solve these problems. The first point is the government must create opportunity to the people that tries to ask the people for bigger and sitting to the streets. Give them opportunities for work and create them what they work. The next point is the young children must get free education for the government and get them aware. When the government take away to the children, it doesn't possible to see the street and get bigger. So I would like to consign my point here. Is there any question I would like to ask?
Thank you. Thank you. That is a good analysis and a good observation that one, we started by understanding that our community, for those people to be on the street, it is as a result of unemployment. Are you getting me? So since it is unemployment, then it becomes a responsibility of a team to identify how can we put them away on the off the street. But now the question is, under capacity building, you need to equip those communities. Like we said that the statement was that it is a labor force base for development. How can these people, the women, the young, and those who are along the street, be a labor base, a labor force base? You train them, the women can be productive in industries, children can become doctors and lawyers, they can take on different activities, but that one starts with creating that environment for them. So we need to identify the problem, come up with a capacity by equipping the skills to the community that we are identifying, and then we go on to identify, we go on to achieve the development that we intend to achieve. Okay, so the potential opportunities in the next few 2 to 3 minutes, I want to finalize the opportunities for developing countries internationally. We need to see that we have international support in everything that we're doing, and also because sometimes what we are doing here today, you need support, not only to do it individually and see how others are doing it. Not you as an individual, but you try a way out. How are others carrying out solving the same issue outside there? That problem you're experiencing here, it is not only you who are experiencing, but even other countries are experiencing it. But how have they tried to overcome it? You need to look for a solution. You try to look at what others have done, regional integration coming up together, technological transfer, that is, as developing countries needed to use the most effective technology from the most effective technology, and also adopt the one that is suitable for development purpose. Then private sector partnership. LODCs can partner with private sector organization to develop their capacity in areas of such as entrepreneurship, innovation, and management. We need to have human investment in human capital. That's what I was looking for in that question of women, children along the street. That is human capital investment. Women, equip them with the skills, train them in different activities. They're going to be productive. Children, train them in different, in other words, guide them, put them in directions. You will get them as a labor force that you need for future use. And also they're going to work in different industries, climate change, adaptation and mitigation. Yes, this is the existing environment here, whereby flooding is hitting Beledweyne or Lower Ishebere. Those regions, they're always hit by floods. But the question is, how are the communities adopting? That is a challenge. But what solution is the community putting in place? How can you use the flooding into advantage? You can resort it, you can change it to be effective. Create an environment that will use that water instead of course, reservoirs, they are going to be put in place, and that water being contained is going to be more effective in the next seasons for agriculture. So you find that we need to have a resilience, a good environment, and also more effective in everything. The overall, there are many opportunities in LDCs to engage in capacity building and can help to overcome the development challenges they face and achieve development goals. For Somalia, we looked at this one. It has to focus on government institutions, health sector, education sector, and also the civil society sector. The youth, it is very important. The youth to be involved in every step of decision making. We need to see that they are involved and equipped, because those are the future generation. Guide them now. Remember the point we said, that the process of succession, that you as a father, you as the boss, you as the employer, who are you grooming? Who are you showing the direction to do the right thing when you're not away, when you're not around? When you're away, who is responsible? Yes, you have to create an environment that even if you're not around, there is another person responsible, and things or activities at workplace are going to continue operating. So you need to have the capacity building of the people you're working with, such that even if you're being put aside, or even if you are away due to some cases, the organization will continue running. The state continue running. Not like you are the state, you are everything, and if you are away, nothing can happen. No. Train who are going to be in those places. Skill development, networking. For groups or for the youth, they need networking. The networking, interacting with different individuals from different fields. As the need arises, this person is the one who is going to link you to what is needed, addressing the youth specific challenges. Government involvement, this one starts with policy development, resource mobilization, institutional strengthening, capacity building for public officials, or capacity building for public officials, coordination and collaboration with the stakeholders. This is very important in every activity that we capacity building environment, by allowing its people be creative and also giving them guidance and training for them to achieve the desired objective. Remember, if we're to achieve development, if development is to be achieved, it starts with having the right skills, activities that are needed to achieve the productivity. So all these starts with the government identifying what is important. Okay, I think that's the end of our presentation. At this time, I would like to have questions from you. Questions from you. Even those online, free to comment your questions. I'm going to be reading them here. Yes, one of the students is Abukal Mualin, said in the beginning, the question was about how we can transform the productive worker. In other words, how can transform women, children, the beggars along the street to be a productive labor force base. So said that we need to find, in other words, the person said that in the beginning, it's the profession of begging. Begging is not a profession. People are forced to do that, such as poverty, unemployment. Find the radical solutions for them by studying each group and the needs in order to see self-sufficient. One solution is education, to acquire the necessary knowledge and craft to follow the requirements for the labor market through cooperation both for society and government. Then the integration into the society in an open, positive way, and must be, since there must be sincerity and continuity during the procedure to remove the problem forever. This one is looking at the sustainability. That is Abdikadir Moalin. Yes, that is almost the same idea which was created by group E, that we need to put children to school and also identify that this problem is taken away completely by making the people who are involved to be productive, equip them with the skills and make them more involved in everything that we are doing. Okay, thank you so much. This time, please, I want your questions, both online and you. Yes. Will never work. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
How can I get experience like this area? Because I never worked in health sectors area. I am a professional of health.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. And that is one. Another question, please. A question? Yes. Yes. Excuse me. Excuse me. There are some papers there. Don't believe them. They are somewhere there. No. They're somewhere there. Sorry. They're somewhere here, behind you. Papers behind there. I give everyone. Give one each. Give one each. Yes, go on as you're asking. No, their question is what you feel about the seminar and so on. You are going to be answering them. But Yes. Yes. Mm. Mhm. Mm. Mm. Yes. Mhm. 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 Mm. Okay. Mhm. Okay, thank you very much. Those are two questions. Another question, please. Only? Okay. So the first questions, your name, please. Adam. Adam Ibrahim said that he's working, is professionally in the public sector, the public health sector. Yes, but he's not working in public health sector. How can he achieve that in order to get the experience there? One, in most cases, we do what we term as internship. You request for internship. But that internship, in most cases, it is not paid for. But how do you position yourself to be productive and be hired by the people? Is to show the commitment. You request to work there for internship. Just you request for 1 or 2 months. But if you're given that opportunity, do to the maximum, such that once you move out to one step, they will see that there is a space being left. Once they find out that space is you. It is 1 point of employment, and 2, you have shown them your capacity. But you cannot be exposed to any health sector and get skills from there without getting exposed to it. It starts with you having the skills, adopt, get the training required, be specialized, and perform your best. That is the case. For the case of development, natural resources is a base for development. But like just we said, it starts with proper governance. Proper governance. With proper governance, what happens? The government will identify that we need engineers, we need petroleum engineers, then they train them as regards to that direction. So when they identify that we need all of them, as they identify that we need this and this, mining all the resources is all possible. All the resources are there. But the question is, do we have the capacity in order to get those resources? In order to utilize those resources? That is the only question now. So it starts with the government identifying that capacity, equip a given number of individuals in different areas. Are you getting me? If it is oil, if it is gas, if it is copper, gold, do you have specialists in those areas? Yes. Then create a market. Do you have a market for the products? Are you going to process them here or outside? Because it is a wide process. Not only getting the oil and it starts with mining, processing, until when you get a final product. So you need the capacity. Do you have those people? The resources are there, yes, but you do have the capacity. Do you have the resources? Do you have the right people to do the right task? So development can achieve, and one way of raising resources for development is through utilizing the ones that we have. One person is saying, that is Keriad Mumin Haji, Ali, my question is, in rural area, which way can you develop the capacity building to receive, C-way public communication, public communities, and good services, education, and clean water? In rural area, which way can you develop the capacity building, the receive C-way? And let me hope that I'm getting the question in the right way. How can you develop the capacity building? How can you have the capacity, develop the capabilities in the rural area so that they can receive those services? One, we said that in most cases, we cannot achieve the intended development if we as the community, we are not involved. So what does it mean? It requires the bottom-top approach, whereby the community itself will find its problems, identify the problems, and the part of the group that will create a solution to that problem. Identify, yes, you need schools. How can we come up with the schools? Where should it be located? Then you call up the public-private partnership. In other words, in terms of resources, the community itself, it might not be enough. It may not be able to generate those resources needed to construct the schools, but it requires to collaborate with others, NGOs, but it starts with a community identifying its problem and also writing a full report, reporting that or communicating their problem to people responsible. It may be the government, it may be the NGOs, it may be the private sector. So all those, in other words, you are identifying areas for investment, areas which requires to be supported. Thank you very much. Okay. I think this marks our presentation, the end of our presentation. And like I will get my feedback, or I get the feedback from the forms that you're filling as we are going to interact and outside there as we finish. Yes.